How's it hanging, fellas? I'm OrosZ and this is another episode of Half-Life 2, and in today's episode we're immediately getting harassed by a fast zombie. And I want to continue talking about what I was talking pretty much for the whole episode last time. 40 minutes of me reading through the list of PS Now games. And one of the games I hoped there to be was Grand Theft Auto 4. Unfortunately, it's not. I could still add it to the list, of course, but it's not there by now. But there is a lot of games there that I'm interested in and I would like to play. But you know what's funny? This whole plan of me recording all these PS Now games will go to shit if it turns out that I can't record footage if I'm playing PS Now, because the way I record footage, like I already told you, from console of course, is I'm using the built-in function. You know, when you press share twice and it just starts recording, and then I take that footage, I copy it on my computer, and I fucking render it, and that's it. And sometimes there are blocked scenes in video games, and recently there were a couple of video games that I couldn't record at all. For some reason PlayStation didn't allow me to do that. It might have something to do with the fact that they were VR games and they used the camera functionality. Maybe PlayStation wouldn't want someone to record footage of themselves through the camera. And the video game I'm speaking of is the VR Playroom. I wanted to make a video of that. That was supposed to be the first VR Fridays episode. And I couldn't because for some reason you cannot record VR. You cannot record VR Playroom. It doesn't tell you like the scene is blocked. For example, Persona 5 is another game you can't record. You can very limitedly record that. And I did wanted to make a gameplay and such out of it, and I remember that story. I sat down to record Persona 5. I started playing the game, I was talking about stuff, and then I looked at my own footage of what I recorded, and I recorded like a minute of the main beginning with Sega logo, and then nothing else recorded after that. Because Sega has some weird fucking vendetta against streaming and recording their games. Which is fucking weird, and it pissed me off about that. Yakuza, for example, doesn't allow you to record finales, which is really annoying. They put the shitty logo in the corner every time I record a Sega game. And Persona 5 is not recordable at all. I'm not sure how it is with the Royale version of the game, but I don't really want to fucking buy it and replay that game again. And then just find out I'm not even gonna be able to make a let's play of it afterwards. I did beat Persona 5, but that was back when it came out. So, 3 years ago. Ah, Monster Energy, I love you. And I at first would like to see, before I buy this fucking subscription, I would like, after I'm done playing through Cyberpunk, I would like to check out the free trial and see if I can record footage of these games. And I'm not even sure how this PS Now works exactly. I think how it works is you subscribe to the subscription, and then you gain access to all those games that I read last episode. But I think there are some you still have to pay for additionally. And only some of them. I bet it has something to do with the people who, you know, like Yakuza game, let's say, you have to pay for. It's probably Sega's decision that PS Now users will have to pay additionally for the Yakuza games. And like I said, I would rather play the remastered collection, which is on a discount actually, 50% discount. That's pretty big right now. But even if with the discount I don't have the money. Actually, never mind, I do. I do have the money. I mean, I don't have it now, but my parents have to give it back to me because I fucking keep lending them money. I still hear zombos. I love doing that, it's so funny. Also, you can see the drain like moving when they climb it, which is kind of funny. Oh look, he's giving us a little lift. Oh no, they're climbing again. This is the part where I got scared. I was saying last episode that there's only one part of the game where I got scared, and that was it. Also, I hope you appreciate the fact that I resetted the game before I went to Ravenholm, because imagine going through this scary part of the game and all the shadows are gone. And the whole place would have been so bright up and lit up. It's ridiculous.
No, brother, step into the cart.
And you couldn't fucking do it any slower, could you?
Handbrake, brother, release it and come out.
Honestly, I was fine in there. I was defending myself against those fast zombies just fine. My good lord, it's so slow. So yeah, I'll be honest with you, it's a mixed opinion about these PS Now games. On one hand, you have Red Dead Redemption, all of God of War games, Castlevania games that aren't on PS4, Sonic Adventure games. But then you don't have like Rayman 2 or 3. You don't have any PS2 Crash Bandicoot games. Those are the ones I was hoping for the most, actually. But,
as for me,
well, they're
the
not
shepherd
there.
must tend to his flock, especially when they have grown unruly.
My neck.
Follow me, brother, and tread lightly, for this is hallowed ground.
I really like Father Gergori. Oh, did I put him on the thumbnail of this episode? I hope I did. I know I put him on one of the thumbnails and I made the thumbnail kind of stretch him, and he looks kind of stupid on it. I love that he wears sneakers. It's kind of cool, you know, he's like the priest, but he's the only one who manages to survive against all those zombos. And the zombos ain't to be fucked with, you know. He has this cool rifle and shit. I wish I could use that rifle. Yeah, so while we're fighting zombos, I have another fanfic I was gonna read. It's called Steve the Head Crab. Which sounds like it's gonna be a stupid one, so that's why I wanted to read it. And it's not very long. The first chapter is pretty short, so I think I still have time to read it. How much time I got? We got 7 minutes. Steve Johnson was your average everyday head crab. Steve had a wife and 2 beautiful children and lived in a nice house in the suburbs. Steve worked at Crab Mesa, where he was the vice president of the self-technology department. He got along well with his co-workers and boss had a respectable salary. Steve had a pretty good life, but one fateful day Steve got called into his boss's office, wondering what his boss wanted. Steve entered the room. "Steve, you're here, come sit down," Steve said in the chair next to the desk. "Ted, what's this all about?" Steve asked. Ted Barrett was a fine, upstanding head crab. He had a wife and kids and lived in a nice house in the suburbs. He got along well with his employees and had a respectable salary. Ted had a pretty good life. Ted had a task to complete, which was the right thing to do. "Steve, I have a message from an unknown government agency. They are gathering the best head crabs from around the country for this new program." Sounds interesting," Steve replied, "but..." "And they invited you," Ted interrupted. Steve didn't quite know how to react to this message. He had no idea what the program was about, or if it was a good thing or a bad thing. If it would harm him or his family. And anyway, "I don't understand," Steve said. "What does this mean?" Ted signed, knowing that Steve would have to do. "You are to report to this address on Saturday," Ted said, handing him a card. "They will explain more there." "There?" Steve asked. This was getting more confusing every second. "But what will I tell my family?" Ted turned around and looked out the window. "Tell them that we're going to war." So that was chapter 1. These chapters are really short. That's why I think it's pretty neat fanfic. I could even read chapter 2. I read this chapter in 2 minutes. But this one's slightly longer, so I don't want to overdo it. Yeah, so PS Now. Oh shit. I don't know really what to think of it. It's a mixed bag.
Your assistance, brother.
Fuck, I would love to play Red Dead 2. Red Dead 1 again. On the Xbox it got a remaster and was cool, but it was an Xbox exclusive. And I don't have an Xbox. I could tell you a story of how I had an Xbox once. One time I had a PS2 hacked with like a shit ton of games, and my dad's my dad's friend from work's son had an Xbox 360 with like only a couple of games, and we did a little switcheroo where I had an Xbox for a weekend, and he had my PS2. I don't know what he thought of my PS2 and my games, but I definitely liked the Xbox 360. I thought the controller was way more comfortable. I thought the graphics were way better. And I remember playing this racing game the whole week, because the only other game I had was like NBA something, and I didn't really like sports games. I still don't. Back then I didn't like them because they were sports, and I don't like sports. Nowadays I don't like them for various more reasons. And I had this racing game, which is I guess also a sports game, but racing are way more interesting than any fucking ball-related sport.
Hurry while I hold the gate!
Yeah, unfortunately Father Gregori question mark dies here. He sacrifices himself, kind of. He lets me escape, but then he sets this little chapel on flames.
I fear I deliver you to a darker place. May the light of lights illuminate your path.
I like how he didn't mention God a single time.
Put to your own salvation.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking weird. So he set this place on fire, and then he ran into the fire as the zombies are approaching. So I imagine he died there. Maybe he figured there's no point in defending himself anymore, since it's getting harder and harder every second. What was it saying? Oh, my Xbox story. Yeah, and I really liked it. I remember one time where it had like this Nemesis system, where you had to crash other cars, and if you got crashed, then you had to find the car that crashed you, and you had to crash it. And also the physics were really good, because I remember whenever you crashed, it realistically bended your car with nice job. The only other game that did that, I think, was GTA 4. 5 also does that, but not realistically as GTA 4. Like, in GTA 5 cars get damaged, like, oh, whatever, like, you might, like, completely wreck your car, but it still works. It just looks really beaten up. But in GTA 4, when you crash your car just once, it just fucking bends, and, like, the wheels get stuck because it bended. And it's worse to drive, and it might steer to one side. It's just better. I don't know. It's one of the many things why GTA 4 is still the best one. But there's a lot of things why GTA 4 is not the best one, I gotta say. I think its dark story is both a plus and a minus. But this episode's about to end, so see you friends in the next episode. Bye.